Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into architecting gRPC's security. And, specifically, we're moving from standard TLS all the way to mTLS. Let's jump right into this journey of building bulletproof layers of trust for service-to-service communication. Because, look, if you're working with microservices, you already know that keeping data safe in transit is absolutely paramount. But how exactly do we achieve that in a modern backend system? Well, let's figure it out.
So ask yourself this: is your internal caller actually trusted? This is a really dangerous assumption, and honestly, it trips up so many engineering teams. We kind of just assume that because our service-to-service communication is happening entirely inside our own private network, well, it must be safe, right? But what happens if an attacker breaches your perimeter? If your services are just blindly trusting anyone on the local network, you've got a massive vulnerability on your hands.
And that vulnerability is exactly why modern architecture relies heavily on zero trust. In a zero trust environment, it literally doesn't matter if you're inside the network or outside of it. The core rule here is that organizations must never automatically trust anything. Every single internal microservice needs strict identity verification before it's allowed to communicate. You have to verify absolutely everything trying to connect.
To make this whole abstract concept a bit more tangible, think of securing a gRPC connection like securing a house. You need multiple layers of protection to keep your stuff safe. We're not just going to rely on a single locked front door here. We're going to build out multiple layers of defense to make sure our system is completely impenetrable. So let's look at how we actually construct this, starting with our first layer.
Layer 1. Secure tunnels. This is the foundational checkpoint in our security evolution. Before we even care about who is talking, we need to make sure nobody else can listen in, right? So the crucial starting point is Transport Layer Security, or TLS. It's a cryptographic protocol that encrypts the data sent between the client and the server, using digital certificates to establish the connection. Now, when people talk about standard TLS, they're usually referring to one-way verification. The client verifies the server's identity, making sure it's talking to the right place, and all the data gets encrypted.
Think of it literally like a private armored tunnel between the client and the server, because that's exactly what it is. With TLS enabled, no one can peek inside your network traffic, and no one can tamper with your messages while they're in transit. But as great as an armored tunnel is, it's really only step one.
Which brings us to layer 2, identity checks.
Okay, we've got our secure, encrypted tunnel, but now we need to verify exactly who is traveling inside it. And this means we have to clearly separate two concepts that, honestly, get mashed together way too often: authentication and authorization. Authentication, that's the security guard checking your ID at the door, verifying who you are. In gRPC, this is usually token-based, like sending a JWT metadata header with each request. But just because the guard let you in doesn't mean you can go anywhere you want. Authorization is your keycard opening specific doors. That part is usually handled by a server-side interceptor that checks if your authenticated identity actually has the permissions to execute that specific RPC method.
Next up is Mutual TLS, two-way verification.
Let's step it up to the absolute ultimate transport layer security in a zero-trust ecosystem. And pay close attention here, because this is a super common interview pitfall. With standard one-way TLS, you get encryption and server authentication, meaning the client verifies the server. But, and this is a big but, the server has no idea if the client is actually a trusted service. That's where mTLS steps in. With mTLS, the client and the server both verify each other's certificates. The server actually demands proof of identity from the client right at the connection level.
Going back to our analogy for a second, regular TLS is kind of like walking up to an office building and verifying the company sign outside just so you know you're at the right address. But mTLS, that's like verifying the sign, plus having a security guard check your employee ID before you're even allowed to step foot inside the building. You're getting encryption and machine identity all at once.
So here's how this little handshake ping-pong match actually plays out. Step 1, the server presents its certificate. Step 2, the client verifies it. Standard stuff so far. But then the mutual part kicks in. The server fires back, asking for the client's certificate. The client obliges, and finally, the server verifies it against a Trusted Certificate Authority, or CA. The absolute vital takeaway here is that all of this verification happens before any RPC method is ever invoked. If verification fails, boom, the connection is instantly rejected. Unauthenticated clients are completely blocked at the door.
Now, you might be thinking, hey, if we already have JWT tokens, why on earth do we need mTLS? Well, because they solve totally different problems.
mTLS operates at the transport layer. It answers the question, can this machine or service be trusted at the connection level? JWT metadata, on the other hand, operates at the request layer. It answers which user or tenant is making this specific request. Real systems combine the two. Your API gateway uses mTLS to prove to the user's service that it's a trusted internal machine, and then it forwards the JWT so the service knows which actual human user initiated the action.
So where does this architecture actually fit best? mTLS is absolutely ideal for internal microservices, service mesh environments, and east-west traffic. Like an order service calling a payment service. And gRPC is perfectly suited for this because it uses long-lived HTTP/2 connections. Authenticating the connection itself up front provides just massive security value. That said, you generally wouldn't use mTLS for public internet-scale APIs or mobile apps. Distributing and rotating client certificates to millions of external users? Yeah, that's just operationally unfeasible.
Which brings us to the operational trade-offs.
Look, building this highly secure, zero-trust utopia comes with a cost. It brings us to a somewhat harsh, senior-level engineering reality. The Go code is easy. The certificate lifecycle management is hard. Writing the gRPC config in Go, like just setting TLS.require and verify client cert on the server and loading your key pairs, is pretty straightforward. The real challenge of mTLS isn't programmatic at all. It is entirely operational.
To run mTLS, you are taking on a heavy operational burden. I mean, you've got to manage certificate issuance for every single service, handle pre-expiry rotation, and figure out a revocation strategy if a key gets compromised. Plus, you're managing secure private key storage and trust bundles. And hey, if you've ever spent 3 days pulling your hair out debugging a SAN hostname mismatch, you know exactly why organizations rely on internal PKI systems or service meshes to automate this whole entire layer.
All right, we've built our house, set up our armored tunnels, and posted our security guards. But I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. If your internal network got compromised today, would your services just blindly trust the attacker? If the answer is yes, well, it might be time to start architecting your own layers of zero trust. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this helps you build more secure systems.